Hello and welcome to Ninjacators.com Volume Spread Scalper Premium Bundle webinar. Welcome. We're going to start the webinar here in just a minute. All right, we're going to start the webinar. First, our disclaimer. While there's a potential for profits, there's also a risk of loss. A loss incurred in connection with trading futures contracts can be significant. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial conditions, since all speculative trading is inherently risky and should only be undertaken by individuals with adequate risk capital. This is not an offer to buy or sell futures, futures options, stocks, stock options, or commodity interests. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Volume Spread Scalper Premium Bundle. It has 4 indicators and a bonus video. And we're going to talk about each individual indicator with a PowerPoint, and then we'll jump over to NinjaTrader and actually look at the parameters in NinjaTrader. And we'll be taking questions along the way. So if you have questions, go ahead and type in your questions as we go along. I'll do my best to answer those questions. However, we do have a full webinar this evening, and so don't take it personal if I don't answer your question directly. I will try to summarize and answer questions along the way. So the first indicator is the volume delta histogram. Second one is the volume position profile, very cool indicator. It allows you to manage a position and see a position volume profile, so we can actually manage a position after we're in it based on something other than just a stop or just a target. The volume spread scalper also comes with a market analyzer window application, very cool, and the smart volume indicator. And like we said before, a bonus video of how to earn a full-time living scalping. The volume delta histogram displays the net volume up or down. It's very, very simple, but very, very useful. Here's what it looks like. You can run this on the second panel down here below price. And you'll notice that one of the many ways to use this is prior to, here's a spread scalper indicator here. It's giving us a entry right here. And what we want to do is confirm using the volume delta histogram. We can see that there is a negative delta. So we sort of get a green light here, confirmation that we definitely want to take that short right there. Okay, so again, this is plotting the net delta for each candle as we go along here, each candle, and that is giving us a net delta for each candle. We can see what's happening in real time in that specific candle. Very, very simple but useful indicator. Here's another example. This is of a 6E chart. Here we've got a trend line, and one of my favorite setups is whenever a trend line gets broken to the opposite side and then it comes back and kisses the trend line here. This is a spot right here that is going to be screaming at me to take a buy. It's called a trend line break and retest long entry, and it's right there's the break. That's where the trend line was broken, and then the retest is right here. You're going to notice that right here you get a gigantic positive delta just as it's getting ready to lift off right here. Okay, so this area right here is the same as this right here. So you get confirmation of what's happening in the actual candles here is confirming the chart pattern here to take this long trade in this general area right here. So it's a very useful indicator. So even though it's simple, it's going to define net buyers versus net sellers, and you can definitely use this as a confirmation for entries and exits. Okay, so we are going to jump over to NinjaTrader and look at the actual parameters. Okay, I've got NinjaTrader up and running, and this is an ES continuous contract on a 1-minute chart, and you will see that I've had it running for a few minutes here, and it does not cache this data. Okay, so every time you modify this, it's going to change and start over again. Okay, and that's okay because we're really only interested in the current real-time information, but just keep that in mind. It does not backfill that data. Anyway, you want to right-click inside the chart, go to Indicators, make sure you start on a chart that's clean, doesn't have any other indicators. Scroll down until you find the NCAT volume delta histogram right there. Highlight it, hit the new button. It brings it into this box down here, and it activates the parameters. Well, we're going to go through the parameters here real quick. You have to put your order ID in. It's a 3 to 6 digit number. It comes with your package. Make sure you put that number in. This number is mine, but it won't work on yours because you also have to have a machine ID. So you have to have both a ID as well as the machine ID, but you have directions on how to get all that information. Make sure you put this in because it will not work without it. Short logo defaults to false, and you will see that this is the long logo. So if we say true here, we will see the short logo. If we say true here and apply that, it's going to show you the icon here. Okay, so doesn't change anything but gets rid of the name. Okay, the lower, it has a lower level, so if you have a if it comes down to negative 2000, you can put whatever you want to in here. The default is negative 100. You don't want this thing dinging all the time, and you want to only look at really extreme, so I have mine set at 2000 in this example just so it doesn't continually give me lots of different alerts. But you have a lower limit here, you set that, and then it'll give you an opportunity to set an alert. So you can use alert 1 through 4 .wave files. Those are standard in NinjaTrader. You can put that in there. We can just say, okay, we'll do number 1 here. And mark limit break true. And what that's basically going to do is going to actually put a marker on the candle here, or on the that actually shows you that it is above the 2000. And so if you say true, it'll put a black or blue square there actually. And then you have the same exact parameters for the upper side, top side. So the upper delta is plus 2000, and the sound then is going to make that alert 1. So that is now activated. The data as well as the visual section here are all standard defaults, and I would leave those alone. Jump down here to the 0 line. You can change the color of the 0 line. It's talking about this line right here, 0 line. You can change it, both the color as well as the width. Sometimes I like the width to be a little thicker. That makes that line a little bit thicker. And then you can also change the delta down is red, and the delta up is green, and the signal block is blue, like I was saying, but we don't have an example of it being above that right at the moment. Again, you highlight, use the plus key, hit the plus button. You can open these up, change the color by highlighting using a pull down. Gives you this color wheel. You can also change the style of the bar, style of the line, the bar type, as well as the width of these bars. And those are all going to be the same for the delta down, delta up, and the signal. You can change all of those. And that's basically it. That's all the parameters. This is a very simple one, easy to do, easy to set up. Okay. We say okay here. Just keep in mind that this information is not cached. So if we change to a 5-minute chart, it only remembers what it has previously acquired. Oh, if we go to a 10-minute, it's not going to see that because we haven't had 10 minutes worth of data. So it will change every time you adjust any of the parameters. So just please keep that in mind. This is very, very useful. This is a barometer to be able to tell us exactly what's happening on the current bar, giving you net buyers and net sellers. And I'm really not seeing too many questions. This is pretty straightforward. So we're just going to move back to the PowerPoint and go to the next indicator. Okay, so the next indicator is the position volume profile. And this is one of my favorite indicators because it kind of helps you to think outside the box. The position volume profile is an indicator that helps you manage your position using volume, not price. You're basically going to set this thing up, and when you get in a position, it's going to start tracking and telling you all sorts of different statistics that has happened since you entered your trade. So it tracks your position, not the market. And it's going to answer the question, what is happening right now since you entered your position? It's going to give you position stats like position POC, position net delta, position cumulative volume, and the position volume profile. So it's actually going to give you a volume profile of what's happened since you entered your position. I find this extraordinarily useful and a different way to help me manage my trades. So many times we spend so much time looking at how we're going to enter our trades, and we really don't spend that much time on how to manage the trade after you're in it. Well, this is an attempt to do that. So the position volume profile is going to help you with that. Here's what it looks like. Here's a 6E chart, and you can see that it has a start and stop across the top here. You can start it manually, or you can have it tied to an account, so once you get a fill, it'll automatically start. And the green line is the start line. Once it starts accumulating data, it starts giving you a volume profile. In this case, it would be the position profile, the position volume profile. And then over here on the right-hand side, it starts giving you statistics like here's the net delta for each price level. Here's the actual contracts that have actually happened. Here is the summation. So since we got in this trade, we've had 852 contracts, and the net delta was negative 28. So if we're long, that's probably not a very, very good thing. Here's another example that I've had it running for a little while, and I let it stop. Okay, so it stopped here. It stops filling in the data, but you can see now I have a volume profile of the position. Okay, so yeah, I have a position POC. I've got all kinds of statistics here, so I know that 11,000 contracts have traded since I was in that position, and there was a negative 349. So if I was short, this would be very, very good, and for the most part, I would be maybe even interested in holding this position for a longer, seeing as the net delta is still negative. And if I had gotten short up here, I would still be in the position. Now, you can see here that it also went through the POC adjusted, and you might say, hey, it broke back up through to the upside. I want to cover this position because it broke the POC. So there's lots of different ways to use this information. So we're going to jump now over to NinjaTrader, and we'll take a look at the parameters. Okay, I've got NinjaTrader up. Again, I'm using the ES continuous contract on a 5-minute chart. Notice there's not any other indicators here. We're going to right-click inside, go to Indicators, and we're going to scroll down and look for the NCAT position volume profile right there. You hit the New button. That brings you into this box and activates all the parameters. I'm going to go to the very, very top. Again, your order ID must be put in here. 3 to 6 digit number came with your package. Short logo is set to false. So say apply here, and you will see that this in the bottom left hand corner is the long logo. So if you'd like to see the short logo, you can say true here, and this will give you a short logo, which is just the icon right there. And notice that it's added all this information to the right hand side of the screen here. We're going to go through the parameters here real quick. First, the VAP color, which is the volume profile color, is blue, and the color alpha, which is how opaque it is 100. You can change those if you would like. No problem there. You just use the highlight that and use the pull down. You can change that color, whatever. The start and stop lines are red and green. Again, you can hit the plus button here and you can change these. I like the width to be a little bit thicker. Start line also a little bit thicker, but I like the green, so I'm going to leave those alone. You can change the style. You can change a lot of that stuff. No big deal. All cosmetic. We're going to jump down here to the parameters. So mark start and stop. Yes, I want to see the start and stop. The scroll style. It's going to, as information goes in here, you can have this auto center, and I would recommend you leave that way. However, you can say edge scroll or no scroll. If there's no scroll, it's going to stay fixed. It will not scroll up. Edge scroll means when it gets to the top, it will then scroll. So you can have that as well. Show the max line, true, you do want to see that. You also want to see the max volume. And the volume profile width is 50. Now, I like making this a little bit bigger. We'll go with 100 here. Say OK. What that does is it makes the volume profile wider here, right here. Okay, and we can hit the start button and we'll start acquiring. You'll see that it's starting to generate a volume profile here. Well, you can see that it is acquiring data as it should be. All right, so we're going to continue going through these parameters. If you would like this to be linked to an account, you can put an account name in here. You can use your pull down and it will pull up and it'll look for other accounts. So you can have it connected and you can say start connection on trade. You say yes, and we could track a position. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to say OK here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my chart trader. And I've got it set to my sim account. And so I'm going to say sell market here. Whoops, put a stop in here. Sell market.
Order filled.
And you can see that it just filled that order and it immediately started tracking information. So it's going to start showing us statistics as we go along here. All right, so now it's starting to populate the information here. So you can see exactly what's going on. You get your delta numbers, all good. So that is where it's tracking a position. If we close the position, it's going to stop tracking. So you can manually do this, or you can have it automatically connect to your account and track your position and start accumulating data since you have entered the position. All right, so let's go back into indicators here. Let's go back up here. Okay, so that's the position tracker where you actually turn it on and connect it to an account. Now, this next section, the profile panel, have all kinds of colors. You can change all of these, the background, the cumulative, the delta negative, delta positive, all have different colors. These are all changed the same way. You highlight and use the pull down to determine the color ladder and pick a color. I'm going to leave all of these as defaults. There's no point in that. Once you've changed and know how to customize one of these, you can do all of them. Now, the delta volume width here. This is specifically this column that's right up here. Okay, so we can change this column width. The delta width volume. We can change that, change these by changing the total amount here. We can change this to say 70 and say maybe 120. We say apply. It's going to make this whole thing wider. Okay, and again, remember that every time there it stopped, it instantly stopped that because the stop was hit. It stopped acquiring data. That's exactly what it should have done. And anyway, going back, you can adjust these column widths by using these two numbers here. You can have alerts. Okay, so you can disable it and enable it by using the pull down here and go 1, alert 2, whatever you want to pick, and it will do that. The data here and visual sections are standard defaults. You need to leave these alone. Particularly this calculate on bar close is false, so it's trying to accumulate all the information live in real time. You want that to be that way, so make sure that that says false. And the volume max is this line right here, and that's, you can also change the width and or the color just by highlighting and using the pull down. And that's really simple to set up, so you don't have to. This is very simple to set up. Any questions? Yeah, remember that you can change these widths. The way you do that is you go back in here and you can change those. Change this back to 50 and change this one, say, back to 100 and say apply. That's going to move this smaller. And of course, once you have started the chart trader, you can always minimize that by hitting that button, and that'll move that information away. We can say start and it'll automatically start, or you can go ahead and do a position. So a lot of people will start this on the market open so they can start tracking exactly what's happening since the market opened. So there's lots of different applications to help you with managing your position after you have gotten in it. So in summary, the position volume profile provides you with a way to evaluate your position based on volume, not price. Very cool. It gives you concrete reasons to move your stop or increase your target because you're looking at specifically what's happened since you got in that trade. One of the few indicators that is exit focused, not entry based. So the next indicator is the volume spread scalper. The volume spread scalper is very similar to the spread scalper, except that we have modified it so that you can have the spread scalper on different time frames. So you can be showing a 5-minute chart, but you can have the spread scalper calculating on a 30-minute chart or a 60-minute chart or any time frame that you specify. And you can even have it on a 1-minute chart and have the spread scalper calculating on a tick chart. So you can actually mix chart types and time frames. Very, very cool. As well as the fact that it comes with a market analyzer component. So we can set up a market analyzer so it'll scan a large number of instruments looking for opportunities, letting you know when the spread scalper has triggered. Okay, so it's very cool. We're going to show you how to set those up right now. So I've got NinjaTrader up. Again, I'm using the ES continuous contract on a 5-minute just for demonstration purposes. Right-click inside the chart, go to Indicators, and we're going to scroll down until we find the volume, the NCAT volume spread scalper right there. Hit New. Now, immediately you need to put in your order ID. This is very similar parameters to the spread scalper, but this is a much advanced version of that. Okay, obviously you can change the logo so you can see it or not see it. We'll say true here. The alerts are identical to the volume spread, the spread scalper. So you alert on high, that's going to actually be the alert on high or alert on low. Those are your actual entries. The alert sound up and alert sound down are giving you the signals. So you can have all of these with auditory alerts just by highlighting using your pull down. And I'm going to do 2 here and 2. We can turn those on. Calculate on chart period. If we say false here, we can specify something other than 5 minutes. Okay, so calculate on chart period is defaulted to false, which means that you're going to have to specify the bar type and the bar time. Okay, so we'll talk about that in just a second. The signal look back in this case is 20. I would leave that alone. The volume average is how it's going to look for that volume spread. You definitely want to leave that as 20. That way the average, if it's smaller than that, it's going to really jump around. You don't want that. You want this to be a 20. Now, specifying bar type. So I have a 5-minute chart here, but I can specify minutes and the time frame. So I could have a 3-minute, but I'd rather have a higher time frame. So I'm going to do a 15-minute spread scalper here. Okay, on a 5-minute chart. Now, the close down percentage, these 6 parameters here directly affect the formula that the volume spread analyzer uses. Okay, so we've talked about this before with the free version, and they are identical. Okay, so I would leave all of these as standard defaults, leave those alone. As we drop down, the data and visual sections again are standard defaults, leave those alone. We've got color changes. Again, these are all the same parameters as on the spread scalper. Up color, any color, you highlight it, use the pull down, go select a color. The draw box distance, I'm going to go ahead and say okay, apply here just so we can see if there's something there. Okay, you can see there's a signal here. However, we have it set to high line, is set to false. We'll set that to true, so we see the high line, and we want to see the low line, set that to true. Now we'll be able to see the actual, we're seeing the actual line here, the entry line. And so this was a short, and you've got a signal right there. That would have probably been a loser. It was positive just for a few minutes, and then it went away. Again, you can change all of these text sizes and colors by highlighting and using either a pull down or keying in the correct amount. So this one would be this one would be the pull down, and of course the 7 here, we can change that to say 10 and apply that, and it changes the font bar text size. And that's the way all of those is going to work. There's nothing new there. Again, this is very similar to the exact same parameters that are connected to the spread scalper. So if you know how to set up the spread scalper, you basically know how to do this as well. This is the values are printed to the left and to the right. You can change those to only be one or the other. I'll say false there, and that only gives me it on the right hand side. That's the way I like it. Now I'm going to go again over the time frame. So this is using a 15-minute time frame for calculating how this is calculated, even though I'm on a 5-minute chart. Okay, supposing you also wanted to do a, this has to be a time frame, though it will not. You can mix tick charts and Renko charts, but this part is based on time and on minutes. Okay, so we could change. We could say okay here. We could change this to a tick chart. Let's do a 987 tick chart. And you'll see here it takes a second for this to load. And you'll see that here is the signal. There is the signal right there. So here we're looking at a 987 tick chart, but we've got a 15-minute volume spread scalper. So that's pretty cool. It lets you able to mix and match those. Okay, so that's all the parameters for the volume spread scalper. Now, we also need to go ahead and show you how to set up the market analyzer. So the first thing we're going to want to do is come down here. We'll go to Control Center, and we want to go File, New. We want to go to Market Analyzer. So we're going to have a Market Analyzer window. And I'll make this a lot bigger. Now, the Market Analyzer window, the first thing you want to do is add some instruments here. So you right-click inside here and go to Add Instrument List. You can use your default, or you can do one instrument at a time. If you do the one instrument at a time, it just comes up like this. You can then select, say, 6B here and say OK, and it adds the 6B in there. Now, the easiest thing to do is to add an instrument list and go with your default, which will give you everything you've got in your default, which in this case is not that many for me. And depending on your data provider, you may have stock information, you may not. I actually do have stock information here, as well as currency information. And you can see that those are moving. Those currency pairs are moving as well. So you can put any instruments you would like to in here. Now, you can also right-click and go to columns. This is where we are going to actually add the volume spread scalper. And you can see right here, volume spread scalper right there. You want to hit New. That's going to create another column out here. Now we have to set it up. Okay, so obviously you have to put your order ID in here. And we're going to use minute, but I want to use a 5 minute. And I'm going to leave all the other settings standard defaults and leave it as is and say OK here. Now it's going to open another column here, and it's color coded. So you know that this is giving us a short signal. It tells you the number of bars since this has happened. So this would be 5 bars on the 6B. It's happened 1 bar on the Euro US dollar. You can see how old those are or how new they are. This is very cool to be able to monitor a large number of instruments to see when the volume spread scalper is actually going to trigger a trade. Now, you don't have to have the bid ask and all this stuff here. We can change that. We can go into columns and we can just remove the bid ask. We'll leave the last price on there and say OK here, and that makes that much nicer. We can also go into the columns into properties and change the font. You can see that I've done that. You can change the font right here. Use that pull down. I've got it set. You can set this to 20, make it really big, and say OK. And make that really big. So you can make that really nice and large so you can see. You can also use and pull these together and make these smaller or bigger, however you want to do that. It's very customizable to make this market analyzer window useful. And that is basically all the parameters to set up for the volume spread scalper and the market analyzer window. Yes, you can have multiple windows, multiple market windows, market analyzer windows open. However, I do not recommend that you do that. This is very data intensive and you're just going to slow NinjaTrader down. So I would recommend that you use only one market analyzer window and have it open at any particular given time, just one. Remember, this is set for a 5 minute, so the way you would change that was a good question, Daryl. If you want to change that, what this is based on a 5 minute, you would right click. Again, you just right click inside here, go to columns. We go to the volume spread scanner, and this is where that information is right here. We could change this to a 15 minute, just like that, and hit apply. And that'll automatically recalculate all of those and tell you where they are in sequence. That was a good question. Yeah, if you right click inside, go to columns, and if you want to add back the bid price, hit bid price and say new. That would add the bid price in. And you can also use these arrows to change the columns around. So if we wanted the bid price to be right there, we would say OK, and that would add a bid price column. So you can do that. Yeah, you just go right click and go into columns, and that's where you can manage that. And all of the things that are in here you can add into the columns. There's lots of different things. Bid price, last price, 52-week high. There's a whole host of things you can put in there. But I would recommend that you only have one market analyzer open at a time. Yeah, sure. I'll go over that again. Sure, Sally. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the this one. No. Okay, so the way you change the time frames on the actual chart here, I've got it set for a 2-minute chart, but the lines are set up, the signal is set up based on a 15-minute here. Okay, so again, you go into the indicators and you go to the price section here. You would change that. You could say maybe if you wanted this to be a 30-minute, you could say 30-minute and say OK here, and there's the 30-minute. Now it's only showing these entries. You can't see the signal bar, but those are based on a 30-minute chart, and we're seeing a 2-minute chart, so that's how you do that. Now, one thing I forgot to say is there's a scalp line pull down up here, and you can say you want the high lines or you don't want the high lines. So we can toggle those on and off, the high line here and the low line. So it's pretty similar to the spread scalper, but very advanced, so that you can have different time frame charts showing different time frames, actually the volume spread scalper indicator. Any other questions? I covered most of the questions people have been putting in. Yeah, I did not go over these 6 parameters. I can do that. The formula, the volume spread analyzer formula, has to look at, remember that it looks at every single bar and then compares the high, the low, the spread, the close, and the volume to previous bars. And this is one of the ways it defines it. Okay, so a down bar, a down close, the close has to be in the bottom 25% of the candle, the up close. This is how it's defined. The tight spread or wide spread, this is 70% based on the spread. Total spread is 70%. Wide spread is 150%. This is based on the average, and this is also based on the volume average. So the volume average is big on the tight and wide spreads, as well as the extreme volume and high volume. These are references to the volume average. So I leave these 6 parameters completely alone. But you can, you can sort of fine-tune these, but just be very careful, of course, whenever you change a parameter, that you change only one at a time. The last indicator is a smart volume indicator. Smart volume indicator monitors up to 5 customizable levels, so we can actually set levels to monitor when volume hits that. It can give us an alert, so you can have up to 5 customizable levels. And when the volume level is broken, it's going to give you an alert. It's a very efficient and quick way to see when volume is changing rapidly. It works on all chart types, all time frames, and all markets: stocks, ETFs, Forex, and futures. Here's what it looks like. Here's a CL chart on 15-minute, and you can see down here at the bottom that the volume is color-coded. So every time a color changes, you get an alert, and it's letting you know that volume is increasing dramatically bar by bar. Here's another example of the 6E on a 30-minute chart. And again, so this works on futures as well as crude oil. This is the euro dollar. Here's it on a stock. Here's on Amazon on a 30-minute chart. You can again see how it will alert you every time you breach a certain level of predetermined level of volume. Okay, so I switched over to Ninja charts here. Sorry, your screen blacked out there for a second. Once we got this is the continuous contract on the ES, and I've already got the indicator on this chart. Let me just go into indicators. Remember, you always start with a clean chart. Then you would scroll down to the NCAT Smart Volume. Right there, highlight that, hit the new button. That brings it down here into this box here, which activates all of the parameters. First thing you're going to do is put your order ID in. It's a 3 to 6 digit number. And of course, you can see that the short logo is set to false. And this down here in the bottom left-hand corner is the long logo. If you'd like to see the short logo, you can say true here, and that will show you what the short logo is. Just a little icon right there in the bottom left-hand corner. Here's the levels. So for the ES, I've got the volume set at one level at 500, the next level at 5,000, 15,000, 20,000, and 30,000. And this is by bar. So this is on a 1-minute bar. That's a lot of volume on a 1-minute bar. And you can set these at whatever levels that you find works. These defaults work fine, but you're going to have to modify these based on whether it's a stock, whether it's a future, or whatever the instrument might be. So like this number would probably not be appropriate on something thin like the New Zealand dollar, because you're never going to have that many contracts in a 1 minute on a 1 minute chart. So you're going to want to make sure this is appropriate for the time frame and the instrument you are trading. Sound, you can turn the sound on here. You can just specify whether you want it to be alert 1, alert 2. Those are WAV files or standard NinjaTrader. And then you have alert 1 through 5 for these 5 levels. You can turn them on and off. They default to all on. You just toggle those back and forth to turn them on. I'm going to turn them off just so I don't get a bunch of noise while I'm doing the webinar here. So those are false. They default to true, so it comes already turned on. Data section and visual section here are both standard defaults. We want to leave those sections alone. Now, you can change the zero line. The zero line is down here. You can change the, by hitting the plus key here, we can change both the style, the width, the color. All of that can be customized. Just highlight, use the color pull down, color ladder, and select a color. And we can also do all of the plots down here at the bottom. So all 5 of those are specific colors. If you want to change any of those colors, the bar style or the width, you can do that. Again, you'd highlight it, use the color pull down if there is one, use the other pull down, dash dot, dot. You can do any of those plot styles. Bar width is 2. You can see that that's the same for the rest of these. I'm not going to go through those. And that is how you can customize this indicator using those parameters. So we'll say OK here. And you can see in this particular instance that there's a big sell-off into the close, and it dinged actually on this one bar right here. So it lets you know fairly quickly that there was something going on there. You had several bars there. You could have reacted to that. So it is a very useful indicator to help monitor volume. And of course, don't forget the bonus 2, how to earn a full-time living scalping video. As with all of our indicators, if you have any webinar related questions, you can email us at webinar@ninjacators.com, and all indicator of the month type technical support issues, any problems like that, go to customer service at ninjacators.com. Remember that we do have a YouTube page, our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Ninjacators. Check that out. I know that this bundle is really going to help you with your trading, not only because the spread scalper, the volume spread scalper, is a superior entry method, but also because you have the tool to track your positions with the position volume profile. Very, very useful. Volume delta histogram, awesome little indicator, as well as the MA, the market analyzer window for the volume spread scalper. Very useful. Have a great day and happy trading.